Hey guys, 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐿 here. I'm going to show you briefly what I do during a pool inspection. This isn't going to cover every little thing that I look for. I can't give away all my secrets, but this does cover the major things that you should look for if you're going to decide to get in the pool inspection business and look at people's pools. But also keep in mind too that we're inspecting things only above the ground. We're not taking anything apart. We're not taking any filters out to see how the condition of them are. We're only doing things given at the time of inspection from what we can see. We're not digging any holes either. So let's move on to the next thing. So a couple pre-qualifications. You should make sure that you're an NSPF certified pool inspector. You should have a insurance plan that covers error and emissions, so in case you miss something in the inspection, they come after you, your insurance will cover it. And then also you just want to make sure any deficiency you find, no matter how big or small, make sure that you do include that in the report so you don't have to use your error and emissions insurance. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I look at are the gates as you're walking in. The gate should open out towards the street away from the pool. So this one does this. And it should have this one's actually broken for whatever reason, but this should have a self-closing feature, which this one does not. So I would walk around to the other gate and verify that one self-closes, and if not, I'd recommend a health and safety finding and that needs to be corrected. So definitely make note of the gates. So this one is a screened-in pool, so again, we checked the first gate, now we're going to go ahead and check the screen. This does open away from the pool like it should. And it does self-close, so that's a good thing. So that door would get a good mark on the report. Now we're here inside the pool area. The first major things I look for, any deficiencies in the shell of the pool, any tiles missing, any coping that's missing or broken. This pool is pretty good in this situation, but you would want to take a super close look. There are a couple deficiencies there in the shell. One that's right there, and then another one over there. So I would note those in the report. And then also the very glaring one, I'd make a note if the drain cover is Virginia Graham-Baker Act compliant. This one is, so that's a good thing. And then I would also just go ahead and take a note of other things around here, like is there water in that light housing? There isn't, so that's a good thing. Is there a lot of corrosion? If it's galvanic corrosion, usually that's an indicator it's not bonded properly. What's the conditions of the screen? The screens are pretty good. This one here is missing, and same with this one, so I'd note that in the report as well, in the inspection report. And then I would just go through, verify that the vacuum hoses don't have any holes in it. Make sure that all the returns are actually pushing water out of the pool. So there's a return right there. Make sure that's pushing water out. That one's actually broken, so I would make note of that in the report. There's also a return right there. There's also some more right there in the shelf right there. So make note of all that. Make note of if there's any pavers that are broken or cracked or anything like that. I mean, you basically want to go over everything with a fine-tooth comb to make sure that everything's okay. Check that gate over there, or I'm sorry, the screen door over there, and make sure that auto closes away from the pool. And just go from there, verify everything is in good working order. Another note, you want to definitely take a look at everything around the pool area where people will be swimming in. Like for instance, these sockets right here do have a cover over them, which is a great thing. There's been some pools that I've inspected where they literally don't have a cover, and so it's an exposed socket and it's right over the pump basket. So I mean, that's obviously a safety issue. You want to make sure the correct wires ran to the timer boxes and all that. So no Romex, that's indoor use only stuff. And that's basically it. So here we are at the equipment. The major important things is to make sure there's not any visible leaks. Make sure that the valves do turn freely. In other words, you can just very simply, after you loosen this, make sure they turn freely and they're not obstructed in any way or anything like that. You do want to make sure there's no leaks, like I said earlier. So one thing you could do, you could take your fingers, now the pipes are wet because we had rain here, but you could feel underneath here to see if there's any water running off. As long as the pipes are dry, that would be indicative there's a leak. You definitely want to make sure that the pool pump is bonded. So every pump should be bonded, which this one is right here. You can see the bonding wire going through the bonding lug. And then along with all the other electrical components, so this salt system is bonded. This is the bonding wire running to it. So that's a good thing. For the timer box, you want to make sure that it does have a safety screen over the wires, so that's a good thing. Make sure it's grounded. Make sure it does operate correctly. The way this one's set up, this controls basically just the salt system, so the salt system's off right now. Want to make sure the breaker box is protected and make sure the weather stripping and all that's good. You want to make sure that the GFCI's got a good cover on it. You want to make sure, verify that, you know, all the equipment's working. You know, the pressure gauge, this pump's running at a very low speed right now, so that probably isn't going to register much. And you just want to do a full once over on all the equipment, make sure that's working well. More importantly, making sure that it's bonded correctly, and make sure that none of the electricals mess up. This looks like it's all fresh conduit, so this is good to go here. It has all the liquid tight fittings nice and snug, so we don't have to worry about any issues there. Everything is mounted properly, so again, you just want to go over everything with a fine-tooth comb, make sure everything's operating correctly in a safe manner, and you shouldn't have any issues with the report. Another important thing too for inspections, if you see bonding wire joined together just by wrapping it around, that's not up to code. You do need a copper split bolt, so make sure that you do have a split bolt joining two copper wires together, the bonding wires together, because if you just wrap it around itself, sort of like how this is right here, you see how it's just sort of wrapped around itself, that's not the correct way to join two bonding wires. Now, one other thing that you could do if you had a heater, for instance, obviously there's not one here, so we can't verify it, but all that you do to verify that it works during the time of inspection is just take a infrared thermometer, and what you do is you shoot it into the exhaust of the heater after you turn it on, and as long as it's pretty hot and increasing in temperature, we know that the gas heater is working and adding heat into the pool. So that's one way you could test the heater at the time of inspection as well. So that's it. That's really how you do a pool inspection. You know, that doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have everything included in what I look for, but you want to definitely pay attention to everything, make notes of it in the report, and you should be pretty well covered. If you want further help, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can subscribe to my consultation service where I'll spend an hour on the phone with you and walk through everything you need and show you how to do a pool inspection. So have a great day, everyone, and take care.